Hi, hello, and annyeonghaseyo. Today, I will be reviewing and discussing the South Korean queer film, Two Weddings and a Funeral. Finally, how refreshing. After all these reviews of LGBT films made by straight directors, we have an honest-to-goodness queer film. From none other than filmmaker Kim-jo Gwang-su. Director Kim-jo was the subject of my third ever video, where I discussed 3 of his short films. So let's jump in, shall we? Two Weddings and a Funeral is a romantic comedy drama following Min-soo, a promising doctor and closeted gay man who enters into a sham marriage with a fellow doctor named Hyun-kyung, a closeted lesbian. Misunderstandings, shenanigans, romance, drama, tragedy, and hilarity ensue. Officially released in 2012, Two Weddings and a Funeral is the debut feature film of director Kim-jo Gwang-su. Although he'd been directing and writing original short films since 2008 and producing other filmmakers' work since 2003. He's been one of the heads of the independent production company Generation Blue Films for over 20 years. The film itself was penned by Kim Yoon-shin and Park Hayeon, Park being the screenwriter behind 2018's My Mister and the recent My Liberation Notes. Two Weddings was released to limited theaters for the domestic audience starting June 21, 2012. Going on to gross $295,698 and rack up 51,120 admissions. Although not a mainstream hit, the film was considered one of, if not the most commercially successful queer Korean film. It screened in around 10 other film festivals in South Korea, regional Asia, and abroad. Viewers' responses range across the spectrum. Even on sites where the sample size was similar, responses could not be more different. Consequently, the results are skewed all over the place and are middling when averaged. The viewers' prominent criticisms, which align with the sparse critic review I found, scrutinized Two Weddings for being shallow fluff, stereotyped, campy, and disjointed. Frankly, I couldn't disagree more with these assessments, and for the second time ever, I'm giving a film an A+. The story moves at a really good pace, unfolding with twists and turns, coherent and satisfying. Two Weddings does feature some sensuality, but if I had to provide trigger warnings, the film does deal with the emotionally intense issues of the closet and outing, as well as a scene of homophobic violence. From his short films alone, director Kim-jo is obviously a versatile filmmaker. The cinematography and editing is polished, professional, and competent. More in tune visually with a mainstream Korean romantic comedy rather than indie cinema. The performances, particularly of Kim Dong-yoon, Ryu Hyun-kyung, Song Yong-jin, and Park Jung-pyo are excellent. Min-soo, as well as the supporting characters, are allowed their own nuances, struggles, and individual color. Overall, I was incredibly entertained. It's fun, funny, dramatic, heartbreaking, and still hopeful. Most importantly, Kim-jo's directorial stamp could be felt, not just in the occasional camp and musical numbers, but in the direction itself. How despite having not penned the script, he helped bring these characters and this community to life. In the characterizations, leading of the actors, and the details and realities he expressed. Two Weddings and a Funeral is available on gagaOOlala, the global LGBT streaming service that specializes in Asian-produced film and TV. So please, check this one out. Okay, now I'm gonna dig a little deeper into the film's themes. I'm not going to provide any spoilers, but this film is dense, with subjects begging to be discussed. First, just 3 years before this film, there was backlash to one of the director's short films, Just Friends, earning it a 19+ rating from the Korean Media Rating Board, as they deemed it harmful to youth and cited its sexual situations as posing a risk of imitation. Against this classic protect the children scam, used by conservative Christians to impose their bigotry on popular media forms, progressive voices, including the film's producers and Chingusai, the gay human rights organization, decided to sue and leave the decision in the film's classification up to the courts. In the end, the court stated that the film provides understanding of and education about minorities, and subsequently the board removed the classification. Two Weddings was released not that long after, and what do you know? Only a 15+ rating. Second, Two Weddings really portrays a community. Its acknowledgement of a wider LGBT+ community resonates. Bars, clubs, pools, apartments and rooms. Homes. There are public spaces of entertainment and private spaces for gathering. Socializing and intimacy woven through both. Many of the indie films I reviewed deal with very minimal casts. Leads isolated by sudden desires or long suppressed feelings. They're very individual stories that tend to not embrace the realities of an existing community. These are not incorrect narratives, but they can be much lonelier worlds. There's emotional power in knowing you're far from alone, that you're in fact many. The details of including Chingusai and the gay men's choir G-Voice, real-life organizations, adds a texture of authenticity as well-known entities in the LGBT community of Seoul. It's a testament to the queerness of the filmmaker that these kinds of details were included and integrated. Two Weddings incorporates numerous queer themes, such as the constant performance of gender and sexuality, and how queer people in particular self-surveil to best conform to social norms for our own survival. Believe it or not, but when we don't conform or conformity doesn't come easy, we want to understand why we don't feel normal, or rather how normal is constructed in our social and cultural contexts. As a result, we understand that gender and sexuality are a performance better than most, and do our best to understand that performance of normalcy so we can blend in and feel normal. The way to walk and talk, interests and hobbies, clothes and hair, the way to relate and connect, you notice it all. The whole world's a stage, and some of us just want to write our own character. Two Weddings is perhaps the most inclusive film I've reviewed so far in its acceptance of varied expressions of queer masculinity. Non-traditionally masculine men are not inherently a joke. Another is the struggle between private happiness and public acceptance, individual courage and collective care and protection. Is a single person's happiness and desire supposed to be weighed against the expectations of family and community? Being queer often comes with the burden of fear that one's existence in and of itself is the source of anger and disappointment, that you're breaking some unspoken promise or obligation to parents, friends, and society. Disapproval followed by adamant apologies for existing are expected. And with that fear, it's so much harder to protect one another in case that sympathy alone should out us. But very simply, this is a profoundly unfair burden that is imposed on many and then internalized. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be, but is being with the person and friends you love enough, or must society accept you? Can you live a happy life privately regardless of public perception and social stigma? There are no one-size-fits-all answers. Lastly, the unique theme that stuck with me was the different perspectives on freedom. For the central characters, all of them queer, freedom has many expressions. For the drag performer Tina, who came from a small farming village, freedom is living in Seoul, embracing his flamboyant personality and being a part of a community. For Hyun-jin, freedom is the ability to pursue both her dreams as a doctor and to be a mother regardless of the legal obstacles to parenthood for queer couples and the scrutiny of a patriarchal society that demands strict gender roles. Her girlfriend, So-young, just wants to be out and proud in their committed relationship, especially since despite Hyun-jin being in the closet, So-young was very much out in college. Isok, as a Korean-American member of the diaspora, is evidence that living in the Western world doesn't automatically beget more tolerance. Churches and Christianity are still fundamental aspects of American culture, as well as in diasporic communities. His freedom comes from refusing any more religious conversion therapy, refusing to pretend and pass, refusing to enter a sham marriage, and finally choosing to be himself, even if it loses him his family. And then there's Min-soo. He's all mixed up inside. His freedom is being away from his family and being away from Korea. Specifically, France is his imagined utopia to be himself. He's so uncomfortable in his own skin. Freedom is never having to disappoint or anger anyone. To satisfy the broad expectations, yet remain invisible until he can disappear from sight. As characters deeply entwined in one another's lives as a result of both the community and the catalyzing fake marriage, these concepts evolve and influence one another. There is no black and white, only shades of gray. Until next time, goodbye, farewell, and 안녕히 계세요.